Today is your first day of retirement. You just received your final paycheck. You open your 401k app and see your portfolio following the exact plan recommended by Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, and every robo-advisor out there, stocks gradually decreasing as you age. You breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, you're safe. Or at least, that's what the system has been telling you for decades. What if I told you that the very strategy designed to protect you in your golden years is actually putting your entire retirement at its greatest risk right now in these first fragile days when you need safety the most? But you don't know that yet. You're still smiling, thinking you've done everything right. You're now stepping into what experts call the retirement red zone the 5 years before, and the 5 years after you stop working with the heaviest weight falling on these first 5 years of retirement. This is the moment everything changes. You're no longer adding money to your portfolio. You're taking money out. Spending is often at its highest in these early go-go years, the trips you've waited for the freedom to enjoy life while your health still allows, and perhaps bridging the gap until Social Security kicks in. Like millions of Americans, you've trusted the default system target date funds. These funds, holding trillions of dollars across Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, and employer 401k plans, all follow the same basic idea. When you're young, you take more risk with stocks. As you age, the system automatically shifts you toward safety. Fewer stocks, more bonds. It feels logical. It feels responsible. You believe you're doing the smart thing by becoming more conservative exactly when retirement begins. After all, that's what every major financial institution has been recommending for decades. But this is where the quiet irony of the retirement system begins to surface. While the system is busy protecting you from risk later in life, the data shows the early years of retirement carry a disproportionate impact on whether your money lasts. Poor returns right now don't just hurt, they compound and can derail everything that comes after. You still feel safe. The portfolio looks steady. The plan seems solid. Yet, the very system that convinced you safety increases with age may be exposing you to the greatest danger precisely when you can least afford it. More than a decade ago, two retirement researchers quietly flipped the script. Instead of continuing to reduce stock exposure as you age through retirement, they proposed starting more conservatively and then gradually increasing equity allocation over time. Here's how it actually works. At the beginning of retirement, the portfolio holds just 30% in stocks and 70% in safe assets. Each year afterward, you increase equity exposure by 1.25%. It sounds almost backward at first because we've all been trained to believe that safety should deepen with age. But when this reverse equity glide path was tested against the traditional declining path in 1,000 simulations using a 4% withdrawal rate, the results were striking. The rising path improved the probability of success by more than 4 percentage points. Ending portfolios came out larger, often by a range of $150,000 to nearly $300,000. It also supported a maximum safe withdrawal rate nearly 10% higher than the traditional approach while still allowing for a 10% failure rate. Even more telling, when researchers accelerated the shift back to growth over 10 to 15 years, instead of stretching it across 30, the results improved further backed by historical data going all the way back to 1871. Now picture this. If the stock market drops 30% right after you retire, a portfolio starting with 70% in safe assets would only lose about 7 to 8% overall. That single difference changes everything about how the early years actually feel. And this is where the strategy reveals its deepest value. Retirement is already one of life's biggest transitions. You move from earning and saving to spending down a finite bucket that must last the rest of your life. When a sharp market decline hits early under the traditional path, many people instinctively cut, spending delay dreams, or question their entire plan. The reverse glide path doesn't remove market risk, but it dramatically softens the blow exactly when emotional stress and spending needs are at their highest. It creates a much smoother bridge while you wait for Social Security, and it naturally begins adding growth potential once the most dangerous window has passed. Of course, no strategy is perfect in every environment. There are periods when strong early returns would have favored a more aggressive static allocation. In those lucky stretches, starting more conservatively means you might miss some upside. But this approach was never designed as a wealth maximization tool. It was built as risk management to defend against the sequences that actually break retirements, the bad luck that arrives right when you've just flipped from contributor to withdrawer. So here you are again on day one of retirement. Only this time you see the system more clearly. The trillions of dollars flowing through target date funds were built for the accumulation phase, not the withdrawal phase. They promised safety by making you more conservative with age, yet left your most vulnerable years more exposed than necessary. You don't need dramatically more money. What you need is a plan that honestly matches risk to the phase you're actually living through, protecting the years that matter most, then allowing growth to do its work once the greatest threats have passed. That single shift in thinking can quietly separate a retirement that merely survives from one that truly thrives. Now the question is yours. What percentage of stocks is in your retirement portfolio today? Drop your number in the comments below. Are you still following the traditional glide path the system laid out for you, or does this reverse idea make you pause and look at the years ahead differently? Because in retirement, avoiding the kind of disaster that compounds early is often far more powerful than chasing every bit of upside later.